Net FDI in 2024-25 has collapsed to less than 0.09%. For almost 12 years, capital investment, gross fixed capital formation is stuck at 30% of GDP. FPIs, foreign portfolio investors, are pulling out. Private investment, although companies are cash rich, is stuck at 22% of GDP. I think the government and the ministers want to soar high and reach another planet as if we are not living on Earth.
General discussion on Union Budget 2026-27. I call upon Sriman P. Chidambaram to raise the discussion.
Sir, neither the Cabinet Minister nor the Minister of State of Finance is here, sir.
Cabinet Minister is sitting. Cabinet Minister is sitting there and MOS is there. MOS is there. Please continue.
Where is the MOS Finance? Where is the MOS Finance?
MOS Finance is there.
The Pankaj Chaudhary is not there. Pankaj Chaudhary is there. Yeah.
You have to check your specs.
Dekh liya. Chipet hai, sir. Chipet.
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'm honored that my party has asked me to start the debate on the budget. I want to first frame the scope of the debate. Under the rules and the tradition of this House, in a budget discussion, every subject, every ministry, every department for whom money is allocated and an appropriation is sought can be discussed. I think the House will agree with my framing of the scope of the debate. The first point I wish to make is the economic survey is prepared by the Economics Division of the Finance Ministry. A lot of people put on a lot of work and do a lot of research and analysis to prepare the survey. It runs to over 700 pages. The narration is about 450 pages, and the statistical appendix is about over 200 pages. I wonder whether the government and its key ministers read the economic survey. The most charitable view is that they don't care for the chief economic advisor. The uncharitable view is that while the chief economic advisor is bringing the government down to earth, what is happening around the country, I think the government and the ministers want to soar high and reach another planet as if we are not living on earth. There are a number of challenges listed in the economic survey. I'll take up only 4 challenges. Capital investment. For some years now, for almost 12 years, capital investment, gross fixed capital formation, is stuck at 30% of GDP. Net FDI in 2024-25 has collapsed to less than 0.09%. FPIs, foreign portfolio investors, are pulling out. Private investment, although companies are cash rich, is stuck at 22% of GDP. In this situation, where neither the public sector, nor the private sector, nor the foreign investor is investing in India, this government has cut capital expenditure. In the year that ended 25-26, they have cut capital expenditure by a whopping 1,44,376 crore. The centre has cut its capital expenditure by 25,335 crore. And what is worse is the state's capital expenditure, for which the centre gives advances, is cut by 1,19,041 crore. Should there not be an explanation? Why did you not give the money? Or did you impose conditions which the states can't fulfill? There must be a reason for that. No reason in the Honorable Finance Minister's speech. The second challenge is unemployment. All of us agree, all of us should agree, in our constituencies, the most number of requests is for job. Youth unemployment is 15%. Less than 25% of the workforce is in regular employment. There is a shift to self-employment, and more workers are in the agriculture sector than there were 4 or 5 years ago. Only in a country with 144 crore people, only 195 lakh, that is less than 2 crore, are employed in a factory. Manufacturing, which is largely factories, is stuck at 16% for many, many years. I'll give you an example. The PM internship scheme was touted. Last year, the finance minister made that statement. Corporate houses were persuaded to offer internship. 1,65,000 offers came. Only 33,000 were accepted. Are there no young men and women to accept an internship in big companies? Only 33,000 accepted. And of the 33,000 who accepted, 6,000 left the job. So what is wrong with the internship scheme? She touted it last year. She must explain why the scheme has totally failed this year. The third challenge is the slow growth rate. In paragraph 14 of the Honorable Finance Minister's budget speech, she said, and I'll quote that, the Reform Express is well in its way and will maintain its momentum to help us fulfill our kartavya. The Reform Express is well in its way. Along with Vande Bharat and Tejas, they may even introduce a train called Reform Express. But the Reform Express is stuck. It's not derailed yet, but it is stuck.
Yes, yes.
Look at the nominal growth rate. The nominal growth rate in 2023-24 was 12%. In 24-25, it came down to 9.8%. In 25-26, the year which will end in a month, it's come down to 8%. Where is the Reform Express gathering momentum?
Where is your bullet train?
No bullet train is coming.
You refer to the real GDP growth. But Dr. Surjit Balla, one of your strongest supporters, has mocked the real GDP growth. That's because your CPI inflation is 0.5%, your wholesale inflation is negative, your deflator is only 0.5. With these numbers, you can always make a GDP growth. But the nominal growth has come down from 12% in 23-24 to 9.8% in 24-25 and 8% in 25-26. I'm glad the Honorable Finance Minister is there. I'm pointing out, Madam, that your paragraph 14 of your budget speech is totally wrong and unacceptable.
Yes.
The last challenge, there are others who will touch upon the other challenges.
No, you've got
The
10 minutes
slow
left.
fiscal consolidation.
You can speak more.
Now, fiscal deficit is a well-known measure, internationally accepted measure. I find that the government is moving away from fiscal deficit to debt to GDP ratio. Dr. Rangarajan, one of the most knowledgeable economists in this country, has pointed out that the two are interdependent. If fiscal deficit comes down, the debt to GDP ratio will also come down. The debt to GDP ratio comes down, the fiscal deficit will also come down. It's two sides of the same coin. I won't elaborate on that. The fiscal deficit in 25-26 is 4.4%. She has achieved her target. But next year, it will come down only to 4.3%. And the revenue deficit in the current year will be 1.5%. And next year also, it will remain at 1.5%. Now, what is the FRBM target? FRBM target is 3% of fiscal deficit. And the revenue deficit, the ideal is to eliminate the revenue deficit, but it can be up to 1%. At this rate of consolidation, which Dr. Rangarajan in a very analytical article has called out as a mockery. At this rate of fiscal consolidation, it will take 12 years to achieve the FRBM target. The FRBM target was last achieved only in 1 year, 2007-8, on the fiscal deficit. But since then, the fiscal deficit is ballooned, and then they're trying to bring it down. But at this rate of fiscal consolidation, it's like taking baby steps. A baby steps will not allow you to run 100 meters or 1,000 meters race. And then what saved the Honorable Finance Minister, not because of higher revenues, but because of higher financial discipline, what saved her was she cut total expenditure by 1 lakh crore, and the RBI gave a dividend of 3 lakh crore. That is how it saved the fiscal deficit. But for these cruel cuts in capital expenditure, but for the bonanza received from the RBI, the fiscal deficit will not be 4.4%, it will be 5.5%. Other challenges listed in the economic survey will be taken up by my learned friends.
ಮತ್ತಷ್ಟು ವಿಶೇಷ ವಿಡಿಯೋಗಳನ್ನು ನೋಡಲು ಮತ್ತು ಹೊಸ ವಿಡಿಯೋಗಳ ಬಗ್ಗೆ ತಿಳಿಯಲು
ಈ ದಿನ .com ಯೂಟ್ಯೂಬ್ ಚಾನೆಲ್ ಸಬ್ಸ್ಕ್ರೈಬ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಮತ್ತು ಬೆಲ್ ಐಕಾನ್ ಕ್ಲಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಿ.